Okay, today, Mr. Hashem, we're going to learn the halachas of who is eligible to receive tzedaka. It's important information for the giver, for the recipient, and for the gaboy tzedaka. So it's based on the Mishnah in Peah, Perek Mishnah Ches. It says, Misha yesh lo masayim zuz, whoever has 200 zuz. We're going to see how it also translates to today. Lo yito leket shikha o peo meiser oni. You cannot take all this matnas aniyim. Oyu lo masayim choser dinar. If you had 199, and as the Birkei Yosef brings the gematria tzedaka, he says it's 199. Meaning, if you have up to 199, you could receive tzedaka. That's the remez. After 199, 200, you already cannot receive tzedaka. It says like this. Oyu lo masayim dus choser dinar afilu elef nisn lekachas. Arez yitol. If somebody was going after money, he's a poor man, and he had 199, he didn't have 200, he's eligible to go after money, but then somebody gave him right away 1,000 zuzim, or 1,000 people gave him while he's going after money at the same time, with the same trip, each gave him a zuz. He says he could take it. The shaila is brought in by the Mordechai, if somebody was traveling from place to place, and he was only, as they started, didn't have the 200 zuz, and then in one city, he got enough, more than 200 zuz. Should he go back or should he continue to finish his trip? So the Lamaisa, the Ramo Paskin, according to the Manda Omar, that if he's on a trip, he could finish his trip, that trip. Even though he got a lot of money, after that already, when he comes back home, he's not anymore an oni, he shouldn't go after money after that. Huh?
He can collect further for the rest of the trip.
For the rest of the trip, he could collect till he comes back home. That's called all one shot, it's called. Till he comes back home from that trip.
And this whole Inyan hinges on the number 200 zuz?
Yes, we're going to talk about it in a minute.
So they didn't have inflation back then?
We'll talk about it in a minute, because I'm going to get there. Then it says like this. The next Mishnah, Mishesh lo chamishim zuz, meaning you have only 25% of the 200. If somebody is a businessman and he has a quarter of the 200 zuz and he could do buy and sell, him already by 50 he cannot collect anymore because he knows how to make money. So 50 zuz equals 200 for a businessman. Oh, now how does this translates to today? You probably want to know what's the value of a zuz. So Emmett says you don't have to know the value of a zuz, because even right here the Bartanura brings and this Mishnah that he says, let me find it again, I just closed it. It says like this. The Bartanura brings on this Mishnah, Mosayim zuz, kimlu l'rabonon, she'elu maspikim l'shana achas, l'ksus u'l'mazoynas. The reason they came up with this number, that's why it's no nafkamina how much it's worth today, but in that time they knew this was enough for a year's livelihood for food and clothing. So if you have a year worth of 1 year of livelihood, whatever, obviously it changes from place to place, from size of the family and many factors, but if you have enough money for livelihood for a year, you're not begeder oni anymore.
So almost every American's an oni. Very
good point, so I'm going to talk about it too. Now, according to this, a good question you have. Today, most people, livelihood, by the way, the similar concept that Moshe Feinstein applies by the Ksuba. Many people make a joke out of the Ksuba, says Masayim Zuz, they translate it, and there's come different number, but either way, it's not a huge number. The whole reason the Gemara says, Shalo Yakala Be'enav L'Garsho. They did Masayim Zuz Ksuba, because this way, before you think of divorcing, you know, it's cost me a lot of money, come down and reconsider. If today going to translate the 200 zuz, whatever it came out, whether it's $700, whatever, different numbers, different opinions, it's nothing, big deal. Here's the 700 or whatever that. No, the Moshe says, based on this, he says, the inyan of 200 zuz, he says, it's have to do with a 1 year worth of livelihood. So it depends. According to this would be, according to Ramosha, the value of ksuba depends. If you live in Chicago, if you live in Los Angeles, if you live in Eretz Yisrael, that's all changes of the economy. So that's really the value of the ksuba. So it's known, and here the Torah says clearly here. The Torah says over here, V'yesh omrim, shkol elu ha-shiurim. I mean, it's not, I'm saying is, it's not the Chidush of Moshe, it's the Natur. V'yesh omrim, shkol elu ha-shiurim lo ne'emru ela b'yemeyim. Sholem kupa v'tamchui v'oyu mechalkin meiser oni b'chol shono v'oyu notim leket shikho peya lefichach shi'aru shemishatom asayim zuz lo yitoil lefish la'avor b'hem shono u'l'shana abo yiyel b'ma sheyichya. You mean you could have go through the year with the Masayim Zuz. Ava la'idno she'en kol zeh would only have Gaboy tzedaka giving tamchui tzedaka. We have, but not as that say that they used to have. Memele says yochol little achie keren. So how you value this today? Not by the Masayim Zuz, the value of Masayim Zuz. You value till you can have such a principle, money keren. Kedel lispanes min harevach. If I have enough money that I could make, we're talking about for a businessman now. If I have enough money, I could make money out of my money to live through this. So whatever it's the requirement of that place, of that time, of this person. For somebody, it's $100,000. It's enough to run a business. For them, it's $1 million to run a business, to make money, like this.
It has to be currency, or it can also be like metaltlin that can be sold.
You're right. It doesn't have to be a currency. It could be anything that you could make parnasa out of it. It says like this. Now the same idea is because you could make money. Alma, from that we see, even in time of Chazal, the two Mishnayos of it, one says 200 zuz for a regular guy, for a businessman 50 zuz. Alma hakol lefia inyan. The Efsher, says the Turki, the economy was different. You needed less money to spend to live. You could make money if you have nun zuz. Probably it wouldn't be much today. What's it, $200? Can you open a business with $200-300 today? No. So, but v'imem it was enough. Aval idna ifshar. V'akol if yamokem v'asho. So according to this, you don't have to bother translating how much is the value of 200 zuz. You have to see what's practical to live. So now, according to this, to your question, so according to this, most people in the world, not just America, let's say today a livelihood, I'm going to average it or say an example. Let's say a livelihood would be for somebody for the year $100,000. Obviously, it changes the size of the family, where you live, but let's take a number, $100,000. So if you don't have $100,000, most people don't have in savings account $100,000. Is an ani, you could collect tzedakah. The answer is no. Why? Because same thing like Chazal says, if you're a businessman, you need quarter of that noon because the noon zuz makes you money. Something if you have a job, if you don't have even savings account, so the job is making you money. So as long as you have parnasa without getting to tzedakah, you're not allowed to collect tzedakah. So if somebody doesn't have a job and doesn't have in savings account, and he's not a businessman, and does
job is less than $100,000.
What?
Or his job is less than the standard.
Right. Then he could collect the difference. Then if he has a job, he needs 100. He has a job of 90,000. He could collect 10,000. You're right. So because he doesn't have enough. So according to this, we have to judge not again by the value of a zuz. We have to judge by the practical livelihood of today. Again, 1 second. If you have a job that you could make the 100,000 you need, then you cannot collect. If you don't have a job, if you're unemployed, and you cannot make money, you're not a businessman, today would be if your average livelihood is $100,000, you don't have it, the difference you could collect. Either if you don't have any, you could collect the $100,000, if you have 80, you could collect 20. So you have to, that's how you calculate to today. Now it's nafkamina for gaboy tzedakah. When you give tzedakah, you need to know the needs of the person. He needs it, doesn't need enough community for you when you're giving. You need to know more or less. I mean, if you want to give a bigger schum, you have to know if this guy's an ani or not. Maybe he's not an ani. Sometimes the meshulachim, they're richer than the givers. You have to know who and how you give it. I'm sorry, what do you want to ask before I go to the next halacha?
200 zuz is a consistent amount. So meaning, even let's say we want to figure out what it is in Detroit. Let's say it's $70,000, whatever
right.
it is. It doesn't change by the person's needs. It changes more by.
No. Meaning is a nafkamin if he has the two children at home or 10.
That 200 zuz doesn't change. Oh, yeah, 300 zuz is
meaning like this. Would he need this person in his livelihood? If he's
up to 200 only. I mean, up to 200.
No, meaning up to 1 year worth of livelihood for this mishpacha.
Then why did they say 200 zuz? They didn't say.
Again, in that time,
they wouldn't. But
200. They didn't change in that time for 5 kids or 10 kids. They didn't say 200, 300 zuz, 250.
They're saying that the lashon doesn't say it's like lechesuronan leshena. They said an amount.
So possible that 200 was per person. Possible was per person. That's possible. I think it's mashma from some of the poskim. That's how they want shot per person. And like I said, but since the Torah telling you clearly la halacha that you have to see what the livelihood of a year, so that's what you have to calculate. Obviously, it'll be a difference between 1 child or 10 children.
Right. I guess the only thing I'm trying to point out, it's not subjective. It's like, oh, well, I live with 300,000.
So here's the next halacha. Here's the next halacha. So I'll tell you. You come with a different halacha. Mi she'esh lo soda sukromim. Let's say somebody poor in cash, but he has fields, he has vineyards, or today would be he has real estate. Yeah. Who bought him harba? Yeah, real estate. Chutz mi beis diros. We're not talking about your own house. Ve'en lamois. You don't have money. So clearly the Parisha says nobody asks anybody, a poor guy, go sell your house. You have a value in your house, or you have an equity of $300,000, go get a mortgage. No, we're not asking. Even somebody paid for his mortgage completely. He owns the house. His house we don't calculate as an income. It's a house to live in. So he says over there, however, the halacha goes, I'll tell you about the halacha goes, if you have real estate or other metaltalim, like you said, like this. We tell them like this: go sell it with whatever it's you need for parnasa. We're not telling you to sell your house, but if you have a home and you're going to collect tzedaka, go sell it and live from that home. Or if you have extra car you don't need to drive, go sell it. However, they say over there, there's a lot of details in that halacha. It's based on the Gemara, Maseches Ksubas over there, all the way from the Gemara all the way to the Achronim. Generally, the concept is as such: wherever it's not necessity to you to have. Let's say I have 2 cars. It's not for me 1 car, so sell the one you don't need and live of that. However, we help him. If people are going to know he's desperate to sell because they need to live on it, whether the home, whether the real estate, whether the boat, they might take advantage of him. So that we're helping a little bit till he'll be able to get the price he needs, a fair market value. But other than that, whatever the general concept, whatever it's not necessity, yeah. If somebody has a very expensive silver menorah, okay, you could light with library, not such expensive. Go sell it if you need. Again, Gaboim working with him, he should not be taking advantage of, but he does have to sell if he has belonging in order to support himself.
Is this Isser on the Gabbai, or is the Isser on the person taking the tzedakah?
It's like this. So it says over there, if somebody is not eligible and taking tzedakah, it's goizel esaniyim. Because everybody, we are limited how much we give. The Gabbai is limited. The people are limited. So in Mele, we have to be, there's a pasuk in Capital Mem Aleph, I believe, Asher Maskil El Dol. Maskil means you have to be smart, come to poor people. You can't, we have to give to everybody. It's how much you give. Because sometimes you're going to be good to this guy, you took away from someone else. So we have to be a little bit smart. Now, I just want to add one thing, a very, very practical. Two inyanim. A lot of people, especially by Purim, everyone knows what's a certified oni. I want to make sure I'm doing a matanas levyanim. And I tell you, most times they make a mistake. I'll tell you why. Because today, what's known to be a certified aniyim, sometimes they need a lot less than the middle class people. Because the aniyim, everybody knows he's ani, he's not embarrassed, everybody knows, the city knows he's an ani, everybody giving him money, mishlach manes, and showering them, and a lot of the food they're giving them goes to garbage because they have so much. And most people today don't suffer from a lack of food. So then they forget there is a guy, in the middle class guy, that he's embarrassed to ask. He's not known to be an oni, and sometimes he needs more help than the poor guy. So that's why we do have to be smart enough to see how we're helping people. And sometimes people say, he knows to be the poor guy of the city, and everybody giving him, but he needs less than the middle class guy. So we have to see how we give, what we give. Yeah, you have to give to everybody asking you, but how much you give, you have to see a little bit. Maybe you find out something the gaboim. And some people take and they don't need it, or they're not allowed to take it. So this Reish Nun Gimel in your Edaya, if you see the Mishnah in Peah, and if you see the two of the Shulchan Aruch, so you have to be very careful who is eligible and who's not, because if you give too much to somebody who's not eligible, you're taking away from someone else.
So can I ask you a case on this?
Yeah.
Say you had somebody inherited from his father, big business, real estate, cars, furs, paintings, diamonds, lots of stuff. And this guy was like Shota.
Yeah.
The guy's a Shota.
Right.
So he already lost like 99% of the money that he inherited from his father.
Yeah.
But still he could go sell some diamonds, some paintings. He still has in his house what more to make it a year, but you know that he lost 99% already, and if you tell him, go make business with what you have left, he's just going to lose the rest, and then he will lose his house. Can you give this guy money?
Yeah, then first of all, he's not a businessman. You could see right away he's not a business. So we don't consider him.
But even besides the 200 zoos, he's got the 200 zoos.
So if he's going to, it's like this. That says over here the gaboim must be more careful with it than individuals. First of all, that says over here in Halacha, the gaboim. If he goes to the gaboy tzedaka, to the money that designated for the aniyah ha'ir, and he's asking for money, so they have to help him out. Tell him, listen, Yankele, we're going to help you, but if you have some jewelry, go sell them.
Well, the point being that if he sells the jewelry,
Yeah.
he's gonna get to the point where he needs to sell the house.
No, then he doesn't have. Then they have to support him. Then the community or people have to support him. He should stay in his house and give him money for tzedakah or get a job.
And he should sell the jewelry or not.
Yeah, the jewelry you have to sell. It's not necessity. The jewelry is not necessity. His father had the jewelry business. He had left him a lot of jewelry. He's a batlan. People should help him to sell it. Help him. Yeah, not sell it at half a price, but still it becomes.
But what do you do if this person? I told you he's like shota. Let's say he's mamash like a shota in business, even as far as the